Okay, so we are going to go over how to add artifacts to a specific application. So this is very useful if you are using SBOMs from your source code repo, storing them in Anchor under this source list, and then associating images built from those source code repos. So ideally, what you'd want to end up with is something like this, where you have maybe a SBOM generated. In this case, I generated it from the GitHub, Jenkins GitHub, and then I have an image that was built from that, right? So you could track how that SBOM evolves over time and what kind of findings you have over time. So, in this case, we'll take a look at this. You're gonna, pass your SBOM from your source code. So you did an inspection and you said, yeah, that looks good. And then you went ahead and you built an image from that source code repo. And then you could look at that finding to see if you pass that as well. And this may vary depending on your policy or compliance framework. In this case, it stopped it for various reasons, right? But we'll go ahead and look at that. So to get started, to get some artifacts populated within your applications, you can go ahead and look at the two different kinds of artifacts that you have available. So we can go ahead and play around a little bit. And we'll take a look at the two different types that we accept. So we accept images. So you can associate images with the application, or you can associate source SBOMs. And if you're wondering, well, how do I know how many of those or which ones I have available to associate? You can do that using AnchoreCTL. So you could do an image list. So you can associate anything in your image list with the specific application. You can also do a source list, right? So you could look at those specific user IDs and then identify, how many or how many SBOMs you need to upload or what images need to be associated with a certain project, all sorts of things. So let's get going. So we could go ahead and add a specific artifact. So what we're going to do is do artifact add. And then again, let's just populate that help command one more time. We're going to need that application version. And so that's available over here on the left. And then the artifact, the type of artifact. So we're going to do first, let's do that source. So we'll come up here. We're going to need this unique user ID that we have here. So you can do artifact add, and then we'll add it to that demo one at head, which is what we have over here. If you look in the UI after we created our application. And then we'll do source, and then we'll pass it that unique user ID from the list. So when we come back here, and if we just hit refresh real quick, we'll be able to pull that up. Right here, a little bit confusing, but you can come in here and then get your policy compliance result. So you can look at what that looks like here for that SBOM associated with the source code repo. Very easy, right? If you wanted to do a image, it's even easier, right? So you could just come in here, type image, and say you wanted to associate with this application or with this group or with this team. There's multiple different ways you can view this. You can do associating images with a specific team. I've seen that be wildly successful for customers. They just want to view groups of images consumed by a specific application. So if a web app is using a UI as one image, and then it has, say, a backend, some kind of Postgres database, or they use, also the Nginx container or something like that, they can group all those together and then get SBOMs in bulk, right? So we'll take a look at like what that looks like here. So we'll go ahead and add that here. So if we go over to images, now we can see that. And then you could open that and you'll get the same quality of analysis that you get in any other Anchor instance. So when you're associating images with an application, it's not doing any reanalysis, right? The analysis has already been completed. All it's doing is associating artifacts and grouping them together. So that way you have better line of sight into what application teams are actually doing. So that's in a nutshell how you can really easily get going uploading SBOMs from source to a specific application and also images and associating those with specific applications.